And we're popping back in for the LCS Proving Grounds presented by Verizon. Now 1-1 between Evil Geniuses Academy and 100 Thieves Academy. Raz, Evil Geniuses Academy had enough.
Yeah.
Once 100 Thieves got in the lead, tried to make play after play after play, and 100 Thieves swiftly deflected any sort of counterplay and pretty easily won from there. So we're looking to be a pretty spicy series between these two sides.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're on the side of Evil Geniuses Academy, if you're Matt, tell your team to slow it down. We don't need to rush this game. Like, it really all fell to pieces, like the analyst desk really highlighted when there was a freeze top lane, and all the times, like you're in scrims, you're told if there's a top lane freeze, TP back there fixed it. You don't want to be in a situation where you're frozen on and you're just continuously losing waves when you're making a play on the opposite side of the map. And in this case, his team was not making a play. They had actually like Olaf has died. You're not going to take Dragon. You're realistically maybe taking another kill. But that's so bad for the Ornn, so I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Tony was put in a spot that was very tough. Couldn't convert on the play they tried to make at the bottom side with that first TP. Tenacity got massively far ahead, and then every team fight, Luger got every kill, and then won easily from there on Tristana. So we'll see what happens here, what changes are perhaps on the horizon. EG back on the blue side here. It does seem to be the favored side for this series at least, and I think it makes perfect sense given what we've seen so far. Tom Kenter Renekton continuing to get banned away here, and I think that the Renekton Lucian trend against Jojo Pune is going to continue, and certainly Tom Kenter is going to be a permanent ban here. I don't think you want to give Luger that kind of safety on something like a Jinx, as you mentioned, and certainly don't want to give away something like Senna as well.
It's just very straightforward champions, and there we go. It's going to be the Rel ban, especially against a team that just stacks up champions that really benefit with the Rel, like the Nocturne, Tristana as well. If she is in lane and she's jumping onto a target, instant Rel stun. It's just a very non-committal stun that you can follow up on. So great job taking that away. Now that just means Alistar raises straight in priority. Such a strong pick now, just because if you're just looking for a frontline tank, he's the option. Now Thresh is another pick you can go to as a response, but I love the Alistar.
All right, well, we'll see if Udyr gets banned away again. 100 Thieves not going to it instantly.
They should
and again, have to consider something like the Nidalee, but maybe if they give Nidalee, they just take Udyr, and Kemby's happy with that trade. They are going to ban the Nidalee instead, so that screams Udyr. But I don't know if Contracts really wants to play Udyr. Never mind, he wants to play Udyr.
It's one of those things where it's been off the plate for so long. When it finally is time to play it, it's not a difficult champion. It's very straightforward. It's a great early game pick. Kenvi, in the past, in games that I've, my teams have played against him, where it's like he's gonna be fine playing. Like his team will play around him. It doesn't matter if they have to concede like first scuttle, first two scuttles or something, and he has to full clear. He's just gonna be looking towards later game stages, like a Kindred, something like that. I'm interested to see what the option is going to be here.
All right, well, Tristana again for Luger. Clearly liked that champion. Versus something like the Kaiser or the Xayah that show you had last game in the game before. Is Lilia there for Kemby? So leaving the door open for Tristana mid, first of all, which is really nice actually. We talked about the flex last game, but it was way less likely because they already had Nocturne, and it just feels like you have so many ADs if you put Trist mid as well. So Lilia is going to leave some of that open. Perfectly good champion here. I think a champion that somewhat overshadowed by the likes of Nidalee and just isn't as popular as she used to be, given how many powerful junglers there are, but I still think very good, especially in the hands of competent Lilia players. Shoyu is going to go back to Kai'Sa though, and we'll see if there is going to be that Alistar, because as you said, that's kind of the premier support left up, and it hasn't been taken by either team just yet, but perhaps maybe teams are happy to let it go, and maybe
he has to be picked right here.
Thresh.
I think it has to be picked right here, because if it isn't, then 100 Thieves will pick it up, and they'll just start banning supports. So that's what I'm looking for. But Mystikas is a great Thresh player. So he is really known for being an exceptional Thresh. So maybe he's telling his team, I don't give a damn about the pick. Like, I'm super confident in my options. Drop me down to 4-5. That seems like that's going to be the take. But now, for Poom, I think he just has to. I don't want to, there's always the risk of over-focusing on one thing. Like on one pick like the Alistar. But in this case, I think it's completely fine. They're going to go straight to 4-5. That means that 100 Thieves Academy will be the one with the first pick.
So the interesting thing here, I think, is that both supports are kind of saying like, hey, we'll take a later pick in the draft. And I think they're doing that because they expect both mid laners to be eating more bans. But 100 Thieves Academy might already have their mid laner, actually. It could just be that Tristana. So I wonder if there's anything to play for here. And of course, as I say that, I guess a mid lane on Jojo Pyun's side gets banned, but has been played support in the past gets banned, and Outsiders gets insta-banned actually by EG. They didn't even want to pick it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a good ban because 100 Thieves are going to just pick it on 4. Like, they just have the first dibs at it. So I wonder if the Thresh gets banned as well, and what the support pool will look like from then on. Orianna banned there, so now Jojo Pyun will not be able to go for it as well. So this is interesting. Remember, Damonte does not have a good series so far. Like 2 games in a row where he's just been like getting destroyed in the early portions of the game. One because of the level 1 that was really unlucky. I mean, that just happens. The second one, I mean, that was a bit of a disaster mid. So you're right. Like, it could just be a Tristana mid with an AP jungler. Vayne, it's a hover. I love Vayne. I love Vayne here. It's been the pick versus Udyr comps in general. When you're going against a comp that wants to front to back and doesn't have an easy dash, Udyr already scales poorly. Now it's just going to feel so bad because he's going up against 2 hard scaling 80 carries in Tristana and Vayne now.
Curious to see what EG respond with here, because they need some firepower here against these ADs, and also need a way to lock them down. Rakan not bad. We'll see if that's the option here for Mr. Quest, and certainly it will be. And, you know, Syndra's up. You know, that was the pick I was maybe expecting Damonte to want. We'll see if Jojo Pyun wants a hero, if he wants something maybe like the Rise, maybe something more aggressive. Certainly plenty of options here.
I think something that needs to dive. I think they need a diving element, because if they go front to back versus Tristana Vayne, they'll lose. Ooh, Cassiopeia is a decent option, actually, especially because of the miasma that she has. I know I'm just going over hovers, and it's usually just a bad thing, but like for me, if I think it's a legitimate hover where you can see a case for it, it's fine. It's just it would be a blind pick versus Tristana, so that's the turn off. But Syndra, great pick in the composition, but really front to back does heavily favor 100 Thieves Academy.
Yeah, gonna have to get some pretty juicy Syndra ultis here onto these carries, and oh goodness, Enchants are coming here for Poom. Oh, Brom good too, right? Like, any way to protect these carries, that's all you're really looking for. Poom goes for maybe the best option left in Brom.
Yeah, if they go for a Lulu, then you know, you have an Enchanter and a Lilia. Like, how are you gonna start fights without the Scion? It gets really difficult there, but now they have double 80 carry with a Braum. They can play bot side and then some. So very clear what 100 Thieves Academy want to do with their comp. I think that's really nice. For EG, I think they need to punish top lane. Top lane, Gnar versus Scion is great. Also, Udyr just wins the matchup if he can get on top of the Lilia. So he should be able to bully for it. And then there's always the X factor of a Syndra. I know I hear a lot of like question marks on Syndra. I think she is still a great pick in the hands of skilled players. People question Syndra until it's on the hands of a rookie or of a faker. Like if there's someone that's truly talented on the pick. So if Jojo Pyun has great stuns and his team is are on lock for it, then it could be game changing.
I also imagine that like the more he and Contracts can combine in the early stages of this game, the better things are going to be. Whether that's like transferring their pressure topside, as you're mentioning, where that is maybe the best place they can attack, or if Contracts just decides to go mid every game once again. I think as long as Syndra can stay ahead or slightly of the curve and actually threaten these carries very severely, especially without having to commit nearly as many spells, great time. As soon as Vayne and Triss can like shake off just an ulti on its own or just one orb and an ulti on its own, it's like silly. Like they just don't care about you at all, and then you can't hit any stuns, and the game ends very quickly once your front line is getting kited and your backline can't deal with their backline because they have a Vayne and a Triss and you have nothing.
Yeah, so that's the concerning part. It feels like if you're on that side of the table, start fights early. Dragon stack. I would really love to see the Udyr start to stack Dragon and aim for an early soul. It's not as if that they just lose, right, as the game goes on. It's just difficult. If you think of it from, I know I've been speaking it from the perspective of the Udyr, but if you think of it from the Gnar perspective, unless if he's on the flank, how hard is it to walk into Lilia, Tristana, and Vayne? Not only great, you know, front to back options, sure, with the range of Tristana and the, you know, percent damage or like the procs that Vayne can actually apply, but also just how safe they are in team fights with the invisibility that Vayne has and the jump, I guess, that Tristana has. So like, there's a lot there. Talked a lot about what 100 Thieves can do later on in the game. I want to see what Evil Genius can do early.
We'll have to see. And surprisingly, everyone's fanned out at level 1 here across the river. No level 1 here for EG.
No shenanigans.
2 successful ones, certainly a very successful one in game 1, but instead deciding to keep it chill here for the early stages of this one. Contracts is, forward, but he's not going to be walking in blind, you have to imagine, so just going to go back to his jungle now that things are spawning.
This says a lot, because Evil Geniuses in the first few games were the ones that were really willing to invade to get something when they had something that was slightly advantageous. 100 Thieves have so much. They have Braum and 2 AD carries and a Lilia. That early invade is demonic, but they didn't want to do it. They wanted to fan with the advantage that they have. They just want to keep standard early games. So that just showcases that they don't want to flip when they feel pretty confident with the strategy that they have.
Also, very curious just how this 2v2 goes as well, because I can kind of see arguments for both ADs being pretty good against each other, but I think supports, as always, are going to make the bigger difference there, and 2 stuns already there from Boom off the passive as Luger is just letting rip here in the 2v2.
I didn't get to make a mention of it now that we're in the game. That's Hail of Blades Vayne. So yeah, the trades from Braum Vayne. Oh, was looking for it. Should mean that she gets control of the lane now and can just play behind Braum. So
this isn't, sit and scale Vayne. This is trying to get it done early here, knowing that you have to scale at some point. Exactly.
So that's nice to see. I like this quite a lot. So, as we get on along in the game, that does mean that Kenvi, he was pathing top to down for a reason. He knows that the bot lane is going to have prio early, can fight for it. So it's going to be bot scuttle for him. We'll just see. I want to see what Udyr does, if he's going to concede that, because he can play through the Syndra. So both teams are going to be confident with adjacent lanes here.
Also of note, it's Cleanse Flash for Luger, so needing to keep safe here. Up against Guardian Exhaust Flash for Poom, so very defensive otherwise, but kind of using maybe this early advantage here in this positioning with that quick level 2 to at least get some little advantages here in the 2v2. But Contracts is here. Don't think he's going to get anything done, but he is at least going to show some presence here, and Kenvi already spotted it.
I was about to say, I don't like this from Contracts. Going through Krugs, and then now he's going for a bot lane gank. It should not work. It should not work versus Braum Vayne. He's completely now pushed away from bot scuttle, and Lilia wants to be able to get top scuttle as well. You're already seeing the Udyr ping top scuttle instantly. He wants to just give away this one and fight for another one. So it's always risky trying to fight for scuttle through bot lane, just because scuttle comes up at 315. It's a really difficult timer to hit. So if you're not going to get the bot lane gank, it doesn't turn into a kill. Your jungler just gets behind. But in this case, he's able to get top scuttle, so it's even.
All right, well, Jojo Poon also feeling the Halo Blades AD pressure in the 1v1, as Demonte did do some decent damage, but Contracts, at least with the beeline to top side, does get that Scuttle Crab done. Now looking for that top lane, as you mentioned, but he is on top of a ward right now. So we're going to go over to these Krugs instead, looking for the wrap, but Kenvi already on time here as Contract's going to start this camp up, and it's ill-advised, going to have to juke everything, does indeed not get Q, but Kenvi here with maybe more than enough damage. Contract's going to be forced to flash. It's a big one over the wall there, actually, as Contracts finds maximum distance away and will get out with his life.
What a thick wall to flash over.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Tricked them too, so that was great job there. Contract saw the Udyr, the Scion that is, when he was in the bush, so he was like, all right, I'm not as long as I don't get hit up by that, I'm going to be fine. And that's a huge wave that Tony Top was stacking too, so Tenacity at some point had to go back and pick up the wave. So you hate to lose flash for it, but at least Udyr does not go down.
Yeah, Contract's holding on to his life, not getting first blooded. I believe EG have gotten first blood in both the games so far. The Contract's wanting to maintain that first blood rate for the side, and does have to keep farming. Unfortunately, just didn't have anything extra to farm. Was looking maybe top, was looking at the enemy Krug, but all that attention towards that bottom side early means he just has to take what's left at this point.
Pastry, I got a question for you. Guess what the first blood percentage is, ballpark, for EG Academy throughout Proving Grounds?
Throughout Proving Grounds?
Yeah.
80%.
Close. 90%.
Jeez!
They're getting it all the time. It's insane. So yeah, it feels like that CLG vibe where you get into a game and Contracts already has a target on you. So I'll see if they're able to get something like that in this game. It was getting close for them to be the victim of a first blood, but this time around, they still have that going for them.
Yeah, I can see it. Lots of first bloods, good level 1s. It's CLG that got that level 1, right? The one,
Yeah.
this last split? Yeah.
CLG level 1s were always
the fastest first blood ever. Did you know that? That was wild.
Ever?
Damn. After. Yeah, the fastest first blood ever.
Oh, that was when they just ran it right down and got...
Yeah. The literal run it down mid.
Got Jizuke coming back. That was great. I love that one. That one's a highlight reel. That one will stay in the the Hall of Fame of the LCS for plays.
The world record. Alrighty, bottom side is 100 Thieves. First dragon of this first dragon of the series is what I'm trying to say. Not the first dragon of the series. Can be more than enough control between Poom and Luger's 2v2. In fact, Luger is like smashing in CS right now. 15 up in this 2v2. Can be with the control, going to take down the dragon. Contract's level 6, which is nice, but Kenby's got the dragon. Gonna feel just as good there, as 100 Thieves have a much better start to this game.
It's great. You know, when we've seen first pick Udyrs in the past, I know people have gotten sick and tired of that pick. As a nice trade being thrown bot lane. But whenever you see like a pick stay in the meta for so long, that's when theory crafting comes into play. And even though this is the Vayne bot lane, we've seen Viper and Darshan pick up Vayne top lane. We've been seeing more Vayne top when they see a melee top lane plus an Udyr jungle. Like, how are they going to die in a gank, right? So, like, I loved that element of it, and it brings Vayne back into the meta. So, late game, we've already kind of harped on how 100 Thieves are going to be successful. But, man, early game, it's just hard. I said EGA, if they wanted to win this game, it has to be through dragon stacking. But it goes back to the first point, which is how do they do that when the adjacent lanes of dragon are just so strong?
Yeah, again, I think it has to be playing through mid, and Georgia Poon is doing well. 10 CS ahead of Demonte. Tony Top also has a ton of pressure. He's actually massively winning in CS right now up against Tenacity. This is more of what we expected in this matchup, with Tony's predilection for Gnar and Tenacity playing a lot more of these tanks and just being the weak side player for the team. So you need to find a way to convert your solo lane pressure into something bigger, whether that's taking the rift and getting plates, whether that's, you know, pulling them down out of their lanes and going bot or going to dragon. We'll have to see, because we can see just in the 2v2 alone, like Shoyu and Mr. Quest are not getting anywhere if this lane's isolated.
Exactly. And I think this is, you know, Tony Top, you know, classic Tony Top, where we'll talk about it soon enough. It seems like a play's about to start here.
Contract zooming on in. Has been started off by Rakan. Luger going to get ignited, but not enough yet to kill him. Still has flash, did use the cleanse. Now does now flash, excuse me. The 100 Thieves still holding on to first blood here. Still available here in game 3.
I guess he didn't know the flash timer on Udyr there. You had to respect it. And it was one of those moments where, you know, the meta these days, you don't know what the rune page we're seeing. And in this case, he just didn't want to take the risk, so he flashes out just to be safe. But otherwise, he would have been safe regardless. But great gank from Contract. He's just struggling to find any play, and that was at least one of them.
Yeah, it does go bot, which is maybe a bit surprising, but at least reinforcing the weak lane. I think it's often a common decision junglers have to make. Do I, you know, go after my strong lane where I think it's easier to maybe make something happen, or do I, you know, reinforce my weaker lane here? And often it depends on a myriad of factors here, in Contracts making the right decision that time, with Kenby not being there on the bottom side of the map, is able to get the flash and then run up top side and get this Rift Herald as well. So starting to materialize a little bit more of the advantage that EG are looking for here. Curious to see where Contracts want to drop this Herald, sorry, because I think he has two very good targets here in either solo lane.
And the two plays are linked, because you can't get Rift Herald if you don't have control of bot lane. So his timing around ganking bot lane was him knowing that if he didn't go there, Luger and Poom would just have control throughout. And it would be Poom that would be rotating up top lane, then you just don't have a Rift Herald timer. So Contracts recognizes that under a really, I would say, tough environment this game, I think Contracts has been making good decisions.
And that is one of the things that's important, right? And I think something every jungler kind of gets through experience. I think it's something that Kenby has kind of grown into as he's played more and more on this stage. And I think Contracts is kind of like learning and relearning in some aspects, despite being a player that's been around for quite a bit longer. You know, you can be flashy and mechanical and like be aggressive, and that's a great trait to have in a player in any role. And I think we've seen a lot of NA junglers with that like killer instinct, but you still got to make good decisions as a jungler, right? And I think that's something you learn over a much longer period of time. Whereas, you know, if you're the sickly Sin guy that kicks people into your team, like, if you're good at that already, you're not going to get better at that over time. Like, you can already do that mechanical thing.
And people always forget that a player like him, even though he is experienced and has been at LCS, he's still 21. Like, he's still incredibly young and has a long career ahead of him. So I just love the fact that he's grown so much. But Jojo, get out of there.
Yeah, had to flash. Very respectful there. But Damonte putting the pressure on despite being down in CS still pretty significantly. Jojo doesn't have enough in the tank to, you know, find a stun and get an ulti down, so Damonte will live for his aggression.
Yeah.
And,
but like that goes back to the earlier kind of point that I was making, where I think a lot of people give, you know, hell for players who sure have had experiences, but do not know what development means. Like, development, you can develop at any age you are, like, honestly, and at any stage of your career. We've seen players like Reckless only get better, and even when he's at the top of his game, comes at Worlds and looks insane. So right environment, and it looks like Contracts is in the right environment, is really excelling here, and has been incredible in Proving Grounds.
Yeah, I think if Cloud9 has taught us anything, it's like, it's a lot about the environment, right? That kind of molds and builds the players up, you know, who they're surrounded with, their teammates, their coaches. And I do think that actually both these organizations, 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses, with both academy teams and junior teams right below them, plus, of course, their LCS teams, I think they've done a really good job of like fostering good development environments. And I think that's why players like Kenby have ascended so quickly up into academy, you know, from the 100 Thieves next junior team. Why Contracts is looking so much better despite having the, you know, not a great start to his season, and is kind of continuing to grow as a player. As speaking of Contracts, does take the Dragon down and pop the Herald bottom side. He's giving them all the leads.
Yeah, he's just throwing everything down here. He knows that Lilia is going to be top side, so Tony Top does have to be aware of that and play safely so he doesn't get dove. But this now is going to be turret plates being taken off the bot lane turret. Syndra is looking to come down, has problems now, wants to go back into lane. I know we don't have sight of it, but she was under threat from the Lilia and the Tristana, so she's found a way back into lane.
Yeah, let me tell you, Flashless Syndra, like, just above Flashless Cassio as far as like how useless you are in any sort of gank situation. So Jojo just has to play the spacing, needs to keep the wave pushed up. That's the most efficient way he's going to get the information he needs. As Damonte is unrelenting in his push for the minion waves towards the enemy tower. In fact, Jojo even going to tank this cannon here and maybe try and push this one back a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Ooh, picks it up too, very fancy. All right, never mind. Keeping the wave, again, Tristana's going to keep doing this, so you can't afford to really hold the wave because wave's already dead. Jojo going to maybe pick up another one here. Doesn't have it just yet, I imagine. Ah, there it goes. Now clears out the wave and joins Mr. Quest.
Looking at the map right now, knowing that there's no objective up, the objective is essentially vision. Trying to get more control for your lane. It seems like 100 Thieves wanted to put their vision topside, so Sion feels a little bit more at ease at farming. I know he's been getting pelted pretty heavily, but he still has 4 turret plates. Of course, now turret plates are down, but his turret is healthy. So he's been doing his job up there in the top lane. Ooh, this is nice. So Damonte is just trying to hover down here. He doesn't know that this is warded. It's been warded for some time. But for a while this game, they've been going back and forth into the red side jungle and clearing it. So he's feeling more confident than he should.
Ooh, onto Jojipun actually, but ulti's out. Does get the stun, but that's just going to have to be a defensive maneuver as Damonte, never mind, actually getting assaulted here as Contracts was on the wraparound. So speedy with the chem tank popped, and Contracts might
doesn't stop.
He dives around the turret, he's going for it. Bear slap smite, see you later. Damonte is going to get first blooded by Contracts.
He was smelling a bear, and he was right. Contracts just sped right up to him. As you said, flash, slap, dead. Damonte tried for a play and got played.
That is, you know, like you said, like Udi's been around for a while in the meta now. I mean, people are like, oh, you know, I wish the meta would change. Udi is just like the right level of hilarity for me as a champion, right? Like such old school champion, like very straightforward. I think in some ways, like that's good for readability because like if you're newer to League of Legends, it's very easy to figure out what Udi does, whereas some of the other champions are a bit more complex. And like just that, like the comical nature of popping Chemtech and running at someone and stunning them. It's too funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I think the only thing that would rival it is literally old Nunu that had just the whole that dumb walk that you would see. And so if, back in the days in season 2, when he just had the oracles and you had to chase him, get a kill on him or something, and he just wouldn't die because he's insanely fast, I was like, please get this champion out of here. But so fun to look at as a champion. But yeah, Udyr is hilarious.
I'd be okay with Nunu coming back. Actually, Nunu's so different now. I forgot.
He's really
Nunu's
different.
Still pretty sweet.
They
Nunu's
changed
one
him
of the
from dumb to cute.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, he was. I miss old Nunu, but I mean, like current Nunu is maybe good. I feel like he like terrorizes solo queue, and then no one ever plays him on stage. It's kind of like Elise.
Yeah.
There's a period where she was like absolutely dominating everyone in solo queue, but no one ever wanted to pick her on stage, at least in North America, and we'll just never know. So perhaps Nunu's floating around there.
Pretty rough
solo
time
queue.
farming and scaling. Like he's always been that kind of player. And in solo
Funny,
queue, he's a terror because he's a nonstop ganker. And what are you gonna do about that? Like people just don't respect that. So, but yeah, like we're gonna pause. Happens, guys. We'll get more information as it comes. But taking a look at the draft, I know we were talking about the Udyr, and there's good reason. It finally got picked. It was off the ban list at some point because they didn't want to deal with the Nidalee. And here we are. He is slapping. It kind of goes back to I know I mentioned the Udyr, but the Syndra is something that we see versus AD picks like Lucian, like Tristana, that even if they get their first like trade pattern off, stun, throw, or at least get ulti, stun, and then at that point, if they follow it up with an extra Q, you actually just lose the trade versus the Syndra. And if she has any friends out there like the Udyr at that moment, you lose. So it's a hard way to play through. You have to play really creatively versus it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, like point in this game where the like 80s are trying to scale to 5v5s and 100s want to get there as comfortably as they can. And EG are going to have this mid-game opportunity where the maps are hopefully for them a bit more open. They've got the Chem Tank Udyr. They've got some pressure somewhere else, whether that's Tony Top on a side lane, whether that's them balled up somewhere in mid or the other side lane. And then they've got this Syndra like, kind of ready to throw stuns out for a pick where you need to start leaning on that to get you enough gold to actually win the 5v5s. Because you can't get away anymore, at least in League, unless you massively commit to it being your only plan, basically, to not having any sort of team fight, which is, that's part of the reason the objectives got made more powerful, is to draw more people to them so the game can have more action. And you aren't going to get to, like, not have to fight them with 2 ADs with 2 items, right? That's just not going to happen. But hopefully you have enough map advantage, enough gold to be able to fight them slightly more fairly, because as you've said, Raz, if they fight like straight up even gold 5v5 front to back, you can't win.
That's why I'm looking at, I know last game I was looking at Jojo Pion. This game I'm looking at Tony Top. Tony Top is going to be dictating when they fight, how they fight. He's in a great matchup and he's been forward consistently in the lane, just trying to chip at turret. And once the map opens up and he's able to dictate side lane, force Sion to be in lane, and then he gets the first move. And if he's managing his Narbar well enough, then they should usually be starting in a 4v5. Like, theoretically speaking, the timer should be there for him. So, like, that's something that I think he needs to be, I mean, I'm sure he's aware of, and what Evil Geniuses has to play around.
Yeah, I think also, like, Rakan is a champion we haven't looked at too much because, again, the 2v2 hasn't really left the bottom lane yet, but certainly there's options there for Rakan to make a play, so kind of curious to see what that happens. Also, the counterplay is there for 100 Thieves as well. One of the things I actually really like about this team is that when they're down in gold, they make, like, some concerted efforts to get gold, but they don't overcommit to try and get it, right? They're not like throwing themselves at a Baron, seeing if something happens. They're actually like pretty intelligently using what tools they have to get picks here and there to just at least keep the game even. And counterpunch champions like Lilia is so good in those situations. And if you're ahead, it's even better if Kenvi finds the angles.
Yeah, and I've worked with Golden Glue, Coach Golden Glue.
Coach Golden Glue now.
In the past. And he's definitely someone that can tell the young players, of course, DeMonte's in there as well, so he can reinforce it of like, as I said earlier, you don't have to give everything. If you are far behind, find your moments to get back into the game through a great engage. You can line it up, what that would look like, and also like what vision you need to do that. One thing that, Golden Glue has been great at being able to say, hey, you know what, this is the vision that I want. And like communicate that to his team so that if you're in an advantage, you play around those wards, around objectives. If you're behind, he knows, like, or at least can communicate to his team what words he wants, so you don't just concede your entire jungle if you feel like if you can contest it. So 100 Thieves for sure are a team that when they are behind are very damn good at picking their fights, as you said, and I think that's a good reason for it.
And I guess the other side was like, we saw what happened. EG were behind at least in one game, and they just sent it, right? They were just trying every single 5v5, every objective that was up. They tried to make a play. I think what I'm more curious about now in this situation is they have like a lead, but it's not a big lead, and they will need to do work to grow that lead further to get to the point they want to be without this comp. So I'm curious, like we've seen they can win from ahead, right? They're very good at that.
Yep.
And from behind, they'll maybe play a similar way, where they could maybe be a bit more reserved and a bit more calculated. Can they open up an advantage without overstepping their bounds, right? That's kind of the test this game. Just as a let you know what the issue is, though, EG are apparently dealing with some glare issues on their monitor. They're working on it. Turns out it's pretty hard to play the game when you can't see, so very reasonable. We want to make sure they can figure it out, but we should be back in the game in a couple minutes, so you'll be sticking with us for a few, but as soon as the game is back, we'll be right back in there. Don't have to worry about that.
There you go. That reminds me of finals. LCS finals. Send that outside. Dealing with the glare. Good. The problem with the dealing that inside, I mean, like, you got to have curtains, guys. I don't know where the glare is coming from, but yeah, that's going to suck. Of course, you want to delay the game until you get something in place for that. So, understandable. Don't want to be dealing with the outside effects of that.
I think kind of my other question looking at these comps again, though, is like, what's the plan against Vayne? Right? Because you kind of said that, like, one of the reasons you pick Vayne here is because she can punish Udyr so well, because Udyr's whole job is to run on top of a carry and, like, stun them or kill them, or at least deal enough so the rest of the team can catch up and do that. But Vayne is just so slippery and so good at keeping away from the likes of Udyr. So, like, given that EG don't have that many ways to lock an individual champion down, how are you supposed to deal with Luger in a 5v5?
So, talking about the timer that the Gnar has, so it could be like a numbers advantage, what I said earlier. But you're right about like Rakan, Syndra, and specifically Kai'Sa. They can assassinate the Vayne if they find an opportunity. So like if Gnar is in the back line based off the work that he did prior, and they did a lot, got a lot of good vision so he can get a flank, excellent. Kai'Sa has a way into the fight now, can assassinate the Vayne, and there's nothing in 100 Thieves comp that's hard CC that it can instantly push that back. If you're looking at it, you can say Tristana. Tristana Ultimate is actually one, but Braum has that difficulty. Sion has that difficulty. So, like, as a Kai'Sa, if you find a way into the back line with the Rakan Ultimate or Syndra or whatever pick that you have there, basically you're trying to break it up so you're not always 5 people in front of 100 Thieves comp. That's the way you would do it. So really, yeah, Mystiquez from Evil Genius is pretty much their ticket.
I do like your point about Kai'Sa as well, because I think it's one of the reasons she's so good is that, like, her ulti is like completely paradigm breaking as an AD, right? Like the whole thing about an AD is that when you position well and output damage, your damage output is so high that you take over a game. And like, yes, there've been ADs with mobility before, like Twitch has formerly invisibility, now camouflage. Like there have been ways for ADs to like give themselves a little bit of mobility. Ezreal springs to mind actually as like the most obvious of the mobile AD carries, but no AD is allowed to like swap sides of a team fight. Yeah. Except Kai'Sa.
While having that invisibility you were talking about, literally.
Oh yeah,
both.
that's right.
So like, she's pretty damn safe in team fights because she can use it defensively, the ulti, or her, E when it's evolved. Like, she's a really safe pick. This is the engage that you saw from the Tristana. Ulti with her Q, had enough orbs, a guaranteed stun. Thankfully, Damonte was able to jump out before the extra Q came down, but he knew he was in a bad position. I think he had vision. Yeah, he had a ward to catch out contracts, but at that point, you're alone. It's just gonna happen. You can do this for a long time. So, great eyes from contracts and great defensive, like just a pushback from Jojo Pyun to make that all happen.
Yeah, it took the longest part of the round, but knew he had more than enough speed to get him over to Damonte, who's still behind very significantly in CS, as Jojo Pyun is going back to perhaps finish off that mythic item that he hasn't gotten just yet. Damonte defending his jungle though, his contracts is feeling a little bit more emboldened for some of these invades. Now that he's got the chem tank, he's pretty slippery. Gonna blast cone out of there as Shoryu and Mr. Quest are gonna go ahead and take down the tower, and now Contract's gonna get Blue Smiter put to sleep. Tony Top's here with no rage. 3v3 though, Jojo in there as well. Damonte going to be the target, almost enough damage. Tony Top finds him with the final auto, and he's going to die to Kenvi. No, the boomerang is going to give him the double kill. He escapes with his life, as now Contracts is going to be forced to fight the rest of 100 Thieves, and they'll take 2 kills. And Tony somehow got, oh, he died. Somehow died. That's so depresso.
What a slobber knocker that one. That was probably the funniest fight I've seen in a long time. When Kenvi was alive with single-digit HP, and Rift Trail just give him the left hook. It actually just smacked him upside the head. So let's take a second look at that. You know, initially it was a good engage on towards Contracts, but they didn't have anyone there to fully engage on that, to fully double down. And then take a look at Kenvi on this back one. Low HP, Rift Trail says, what's up?
I have no idea how Tony died. I guess something ticked over and he just fell to the ground, and 2 kills cleaned up there for Poom and Tenacity at the end of it all. So a 3v2 trade at the end of the day in favor of 100 Thieves Academy. So feeling good here. Dragon split as well. Tower up there for EG as the bottom side did manage to pick up that structure. And continuing their pressure here in mid lane. As the Infernal Dragon is up, so it could be a 5v5 in short order. Tony Top ready with the TP, but Tenacity walking in already as 100 Thieves are going to start the objective.
It's looking good for 100 Thieves. These fights have been back and forth, and also earlier on, Damonte making that mistake of going all in. Like, they can play a very boring game and win. If you have Lilia and Braum, a lot of times the ways you start fights, not very exciting, very limited, right? But it's how you are on major objectives and make it difficult for the enemy team to walk into you. So that's what they just need to focus on. So you'll see a pretty slow game. It should be a very low kill count. It's just going to be a gentleman's handshake, guys. It's just how it's going to be. And Soul is going to be the ultimate goal for 100 Thieves.
Oh, Damonte, I think he took a quick water break. Just hitting the towel there.
There we go.
Right-clicks it, hands off keyboard, no problem. Plenty of time to, uncap the water bottle. As Jojo ulted up by Poom, put to sleep, but not even needed. Mr. Quest trying to save him. And there's the Q in from Sion. Kenvi actually going to get the kill once again. It was the dot that killed Tony Top before. It's going to be the Lilia passive that does it again. Assure you explodes thanks to Damonte. And now Rakan left for dead. Dances back to Tony Top. Tony Top almost in Mega, and he's going to keep his Rakan safe as he W's over the wall. But 100 Thieves continuing to rack up kills here. Gold is even, but not now as Damonte takes down the mid outer.
What a punishment. Rift Trail thrown down, but Tenacity, bit of a playmaker, nice flash Q. They just answered so well versus EG and are able to get the turret themselves. So honestly, EG is just lucky this happened in 19 minutes and not 20. Else that would just be a Baron.
All right, well, Contracts knows what's up. There's a Lilia down here. Continuing to eat harassment there from the E's that roll on in. Does have to, again, kind of arrest control back of this game. Mid lane outer certainly going to be the first port of call here for EGA. As we'll watch this one again, it's just, trying to punish here in mid and getting punished.
Yeah, Jojo Pyun just was in a really bad position. That's just a fact. And then Tenacity, seeing the low HPR on that one, is able to get that kill. With the tick damage, of course, of Lilia. It's just going to be what happens. But really good answer for 100 Thieves, and it's something we've talked about every game up until now. Is just that if they feel like they're in a bad position, in this case they were, they had a gold lead, sure, but they found a bad position and made the best out of it. Great engage to punish EG on that.
All right, well, EG finally with the, I think, third revisit here in mid are going to take down that tower, but Damonte already looking for that trade here in top side, so he's going to be 3 towers for 3 here. Gold lead very close, actually 500 gold ahead of 100 Thieves Academy, which is good news for their carries that are still looking to pick up a bit more farm. Contracts trying to cancel this recall. Doesn't have flash. They did have it, in fact, but didn't have the vision to get the slap in. So Damonte is going to be safe for now.
Man, this is getting a little hard. This is one of those games where even though the gold is really close, compositionally difficult, but they found their Lilia pick.
Oh, good pick here on a Kenvi. It's going to be Rakan that starts it off, and Contracts are trying to finish the job. It's not enough damage. Phoenix Dance, please! Doesn't get it done. Damonte kicks him back there with the ulti, is almost the explosion. Deals the final blow to Rakan, but alive for now as Kenvi walks away alongside the enemy support. And 100 Thieves still barreling down mid here. Luga unafraid despite all the attention that's been happening here in these fights.
Yeah, this is just a really insane position from 100 Thieves. Remember, a minute 30 until next Dragon. They have full control of enemy red side jungle. They haven't dipped into it, but they've had control for so long that there's no wards there from EG. So it feels like that's going to be a third Dragon for them now, unless anything happens here. Good back timing, a minute 10, you know, back on the map, and EG needs to find something. I don't think they do Baron fast enough, and it is warded, so they'll have extra heads up if, you know, EG does walk over the ward to do it. So in a pretty tough position, I think.
I think so. I think you have to try and 5v5. Maybe if Tony can get this bottom wave pushed out, then he can look to wrap around the back.
Yeah.
And flank. But we have talked about, you know, Tony's side lane pressure and what it could potentially amount to. And unfortunately for EGA, it hasn't been much yet. Just not enough time, not enough space to push out these lanes and really threaten something else. Instead, it's Luger finishing his second item now with the Phantom Dancer done. Gonna have everything at the ready here for 100 Thieves. They look to take down this third dragon for themselves.
Yeah, they're just sitting in their vision. And you're right. I would have loved to have seen Tony on side lane more consistently. Don't look for the fights as aggressively. I honestly, it's one of those things where it feels bad to just having a split push and the enemy team just completely take your vision and live inside your jungle. And when you feel like you're strong enough through your jungler, you want to call for those fights. But they're going to have 5 people barrel through mid, get control now of mid lane so they can hop straight into Fog of War and start clearing out the vision that 100 Thieves had for so long.
Also, Jojopyun went back and TP'd right back in after buying item number 2. So kind of using that TP to get here first, get here aggressively. Knows that this fight's going to be really important. Damonte potentially could get caught here, but they don't know where he is yet. And Damonte's actually just barely escaped. It's Infernal through the river.
It's Infernal Rift, so honestly, he's not
good.
in a concerned position. You can just walk straight through where the walls would be around blue buff. So he doesn't want to flank. He wants to come in 5-man front to back. That should be a 100 Thieves game plan. Tenacity just wants to walk straight in. Who cares? If you have your squad right there, next wave, you should be willing to walk straight into the line bush. Oh, actually, they're going to say to hell with that. They're going straight for Baron. Remember, this means a lot for 100 Thieves, means very little for EG to be on Dragon.
All right, so instead they'll move Shoyu down to take it. It's pretty standard practice here to just split off one person to finish off the Baron. Can't be the smite, of course, because jungler needs to be the contest for Baron. Tenacity wrapping around. Shoyu getting a little low, but not threatened here. No one's going to check, and actually enough control there for EG to take that dragon away.
I mean, EG just played that out really well. Even when I thought that 100 Thieves would be turning to Baron themselves and then look for a fight, they weren't willing to pull that trigger, which I'm surprised about. I think they're strong enough to do it, but they didn't want to throw the game potentially at that fight. So EG, great job. They put 5 people through mid. They knew that if 100 Thieves did that themselves, then there would be a problem. But Tristana was on side lane, bot lane while that happened, so it was easier for EGA to do that.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you get, you know, into the area first, right? For the front of the fight is now the long way around, which is exactly what you want if you're on the EG side.
People knock the NAA RAM, but especially when an objective is up, mid control is really, really needed. If Tristana's on side lane when you have people who are barreling and getting control through mid lane wave, then she's just cut off from her team, and she is not a good flanker at all. She needs to reposition like we saw. So what happened was you just lose all the vision that you've worked for 2 minutes to attain. So this is one of those moments where if you look back on it as a team, you know, Damonte should just be mid, but here we go. It seems like it's EG looking for a fight.
Oh, Tony missing that ulti. Damonte just shooting him. I think he got knocked back, actually, was the reason why it didn't hit. But now the sleep is going to happen. Going to have to flash away, but that's not going to be enough. Tony just dead here. Oh, the warp so nice onto Damonte. Try and break it down. He's going to get the trade kill. Very well played for Tony Top, but it is 1-for-1 as Contracts zooming down to the bottom side of the map. Dodges that first Q, and now the Rakan's going to be here first, and Contracts knows he's got his prey locked down. It's a shutdown for the Udyr.
Yeah, now we're starting to lose the focus here from 100 Thieves. Trying to dive the Gnar that's Mega Gnar. I've seen that far too many times, and once again did not work out for the aggressors. Long death timers too. This should be a Baron for EG.
Yeah, Kenby dying is the additional one they didn't want to pick up here, but Contracts is going to basically go top to bot, back to top, and start Baron up here for his team. It's no AD just yet. Never mind, Shoyu's right there behind them. And Tenacity going to have to get himself in there. Tony Top TPing in. It's going to be a 5v4 around the Baron. See how much help 100 Thieves get from the objective, but EG are just committed to burning this down. They know there's no smite. They just take it here. Tony going to play zone defense, and now zone offense. In there we go. Tenacity going to get interrupted as he tries to ulti out of the way, and now knocked into the wall and killed. It's going to be yet another kill for EG as Contract's already on for the next one. Finds the stun. In goes Tony. Wallops in there. Ulti out onto the Braum, and Jojo Pyun going to collect the last hit.
It just keeps happening. One after another. 100 Thieves just fall. After the first mistake, Baron is gone. It was a 5v3. Tristana sure TP'd back mid when she was alive, but at that point, Baron is gone. Let them have it. Play defensively. You should be confident with how you're playing from behind throughout the series. But they give away a few more kills, and now EG are the ones laughing with Baron, and now can be on the map. 10-second death timer on Tenacity means that first punch should be there for EG.
All right, well, Damonte going to be first of this wave at least. He's trying to get it pushed back as far as he can. Going to have to contain with Baron up minions thanks to Rakan being in the area. So going to take even longer. And so watch this one again. EG just smashing down this Baron. And Tony Top's like, Baron's already done. I'm going back in here for seconds.
Yes, so honestly, what are you going to do? You're a Vayne, you're a Braum, you're a Sion. What's the goal here? Versus 5 people. They should really challenge themselves to think about what they're actually going to accomplish. They weren't going to steal, of course. They were trying to play for fight, but Tristana was never going to be there on time. Perhaps you could say slow down the enemy team so she can get there on time, but that's never going to be an effective strategy versus a team that should just get Baron and run. So we see these moments too many times from 100 Thieves Academy, and it's biting them.
Yeah, certainly in that spot. A tough one there as EG get extra on top of the Baron. They were already guaranteed thanks to their 2 kills on the bottom side of the map about a minute before that. Now 2,000 gold ahead and counting as they've got a minute left to play with here of this Baron buff here. 100 Thieves again trying for that counterplay. But basically they've decided to push the lane Damonte wanted to push because he's the most irritating as far as wave clear goes. And through to the inhib we may be as Tenacity going to have to go through the gate to try and protect it. EG not overcommitting though.
Oh, where are we going?
Feeding in there. Oh, goodness. Rakan's right in there. And now going to get stunned up, and the shot is going to go off, and he gets killed by Luger. Seems like an oopsie there. It's now 5v4 in favor of 100 Thieves. And EG, what do you do now? How do you get out of this? You're just getting surrounded. The only way out is forward, but that's towards the enemy base. But forward they must go. All right.
Walking forward without a
chasing EG
wave.
towards their own base.
That sounds like a song. Walking forward. Oh, they actually do have a minion wave. Wait a minute. They can't just power through.
Inhib as well. They're going to try and get it, but they have to fight the way out of here. Double sleep there for Kenvi. Joji Poon diving in as Tony Top, excuse me, that's going in as Joji Poon has failed, and now Tony about to go mega. But he is going to fall as Shoyu dies to Tenacity. And Contracts, he's diving back in there. He's trying to make something happen. He knows he's not going to get out alive, but he's not going to get out with any extra kills either. As Tony back onto Damonte, doesn't miss, doesn't hit the E, and now I think he's just dead. Over the top we go. Blast Cone away to safety, and Damonte should be able to chase this nice and easy. Tony Top hops away, but nothing to hop onto is Damonte with the long range and the rocket jump coming up in 2 seconds. Gives it up. Not enough vision. No need to chase. They'll just take the kills they got.
What a messy way for EG to play that one out, right? They had the world in front of them, but it's 100 Thieves that now get the dragon. And even in that fight, got to give a lot of credit to how they pulled that one off. We didn't get to see the initial portion of it. I guess this is the opportunity now. So what happened in this engage? Not a lot of follow-up, and Rakan is instantly dead. Oh no, you hate to see it.
And then, like, now they're trapped, right? Like,
yeah.
This looks silly, but that's because EG have nowhere to go.
Yeah, they were just too trigger happy on the engage, and a lot of the times when you're on a pick that, you know, it's squishy, has a lot of movement speed, you can blank. You know, you think you have the engage and your team can follow up, but they're just not there with it, and you die instantly there. So it was an opportunity where EG thinks they can end the game with that fight. It's over. They have minion wave, they have Baron, they have inhibitor that's right in front of them, but it's just one mistake, and 100 Thieves comes out ahead of that.
And they didn't even get the inhib raz. Sure, you ulted in the fight instead of killing the inhib.
Happens.
They could have easily taken it at any point, but they're trying to fight their way out instead. Unfortunately for them, just kept hitting a dead end. They don't even get that. In fact, 100 Thieves to add insult to injury. They got the Dragon off the back of that as well. So they're on Soul Point, 3 minutes 45 until the Infernal Soul could be theirs if they claim the Dragon. And EG now out of Baron, gonna have to find another way to get leverage in this game. You're only up, a little over 1,000 gold here. And the Lilia and the two ADs are just getting stronger and stronger.
What a wild game and an insane series, right? It's like, I cannot guess how this game is going to go. Thought it was at some point very clear that 100 Thieves with their comp was going to win. Then EG comes out with that huge play bot lane, Baron, 3 picks mid. Like, you're like, wait a second. Now it feels like it's guaranteed they'll take that. Another, basically a chuck of the ball back to 100 Thieves. And Luger, once again, is fed on this vein. I mean, like, he's having 2 amazing games in a row where he's going to be the person that's going to be puncturing the front line.
Yeah, there does seem to be a pretty strong correlation between Luger not dying and 100 Thieves Academy winning the game.
Yeah, facts.
Makes sense. Not a KDA player by any means, just a good player, especially in spots where he needs to be positioned properly. The fight's going to brew, though, as EG looks to go in, but Tenacity just bearing the brunt of that engage and shaking it off. Poom and Tenacity, not the targets you're looking for on the EG side if you're engaging, but they do some damage, they make some space. They are looking for Baron once again, as you can tell by their positioning, but Contracts maybe going to have to go back before that happens. And Dragon up in 2 minutes as well. EG don't have a lot of time. Tenacity, though, maybe caught out, but not enough there. In fact, Mr. Quest is going into the backside trying to fight Amonte. Did get a QSS popped, I believe. Yes, indeed, he did. As now Kenvi over the top. Oh, he's looking for a big old sleeve. The stasis is there. He finds 2, but the damage is good enough. Shoyu going to take him out. Demonte almost dead as Shoyu zooms in for the next kill, but now he's got to fight Luger 1v2, and that's not fair at all. Tony Top about to go Mega, does hop around, but now Jojo Pyun got to run. He does get out safely, but again, another team fight win. 100 Thieves up 3 for 2.
It's slowly going back into 100 Thieves court. That was a nice play from Kenvi. He knew he was sacrificing himself, but he knew he was doing it for the bigger picture. Luger untouched. Demonte was looking good that fight, and now this is the Baron play that'll put them back.
Goodness.
Double teleport.
All in, Raz. Gonna push it into the middle of the Baron pit and see what happens here. You can't steal, you have to fight. Poom's already spotted you. Luger's just off the Baron. No, he's back on the Baron. They've got no smite on either side, if I just remember now. 2v3. Luger, though, going to be the real threat. Do they have anyone else that can join? Rakan's barreling up mid, but it's so far away. They bought enough time to get them off the Baron. That might be what they were actually intending for, but now you got to get out alive. Jojo
Round up that
carrying the spear. Tenacity taking some damage. Stun is good. Toe and Top's in there. Gets the scoop, but only on the one. Demonte around the side. He's going to get the kill onto Jojo Pyun, and now Mr. Quest over the top dances away. Poom is dead to Contracts, though, but now Contracts is asleep, and he's dead as Baron. Surely we'll go to 100 Thieves Academy this time as Luger's on a rampage. They take the crab, but what else can you do? It's 4v2 with no junglers. 100 Thieves are going to take this Baron.
We're back to step 1. EG tried. Double teleport, and they got caught in vision. So I was like, wait a second, you got 2 people in no man's land? We'll chase that one too. Contracts was also there trying to save Private Ryan, Private Jojo Pyun. But they all die for it, and that's another Baron now. 100 Thieves are now just comfortably in the driver's seat.
Gets worse, Raz. Infernal Soul's up in 2 seconds.
It's
Could not be timed any better for 100 Thieves. Is Demonte going to take the red buff too? Oh boy.
What a game. Honestly, as much as I said comfortably, I feel like somehow, some way, EG will do something. But no, this feels like as long as they play it out, textbook way, 100 Thieves, too strong. And you're right. Luger, no death.
No textbooks. No textbooks, Raz. Just Contract zooming in. Luger, oh, he gets stunned. That's the kill they need. Shoyu's in there. Ulti out of Brom's going to keep him safe, but Luger still under threat. Mr. Quest trying so hard to move himself onto the backline threat, but Luger just will not be killed. He's unstoppable. Contract in again. There's a double kill. Are you kidding me? Shoyu still trying to hunt him down. Oh, but he gets exploded by the Vayne. Jojo Pyun with the ulti, but the GA is going to keep him safe. And now the real death. Can they get the kill? Jojo Pyun can get the shutdown, but Demonte going to zoom in onto Tony Top, and Tenacity is trying to find what he can. No ulti though, and I think they're going to get out alive there. You need to sphere Tenacity. Please, Jojo Pune, stop throwing spheres toward Damonte. Tony Top's going to get out of there, and now the boomerang slow is there, but Damonte is the real threat. Jojo Pune, sorry, trying to keep him back, but Tenacity cooling down the ulti. Is it fast enough? Probably not. The slow W is good. There's the next Q now lining up for Damonte as he rocket jumps over. Tenacity still moving in, but Tony Top's out, but now Jojo Pune, is he dead? He is dead as Damonte's going to look for two. Gets one, get a rocket jump in. There's the second 100 Thieves. That's almost everybody. Somehow running all the way down bottom lane.
Who do you credit all of that for? King Luger. Aye, King Luger. What the hell, man? This guy kited back the entire map. Please show me the replay for that. Please.
Oh, yes. I will accept any and all Luger replays from this game. Here we go.
Like,
all right, so here's where we're going to start.
It starts once again with 100 Thieves, you know, pressing too forward with their players, but he kites back with the help of Braum. Remember, he even pivots forward to get the stun, and when he knows he can get the kill, on towards, the Rakan instantly nails it. Same with the Udyr. And now, if you're trying to chase him down, the one thing we forgot, he has GA. He can buy for time for Tristana and for the Scion to come out and help. And so he buys enough time for the squad to come in. Really beautiful play.
Oh, goodness. And then this great escape. Well,
yeah, let's speed this one on up.
I mean, Jojo Pune is like, I just need to save the stun for Tristana, but if I don't slow the Scion, he's going to catch us. And Damonte finally finds the angle, and it's all good to go. And then speeds in on the Scion train just at the end for a bit of fun. And that play took us from the Raptor pick. Contracts is currently clearing vision in to behind the enemy, behind the red side blue buff.
Yep.
All the way back to the tier 2 in the bottom lane on EG's side of the map. So
my apologies.
Quite the journey we've been on.
I said King Luger. I meant Kral Luger. This man, the Turkish prince. This guy. Oh, okay, all right. They almost caught off Scion there, but at the end, he is playing so sensationally this series. He has his Infinity Edge now. There's a fight happening. Where's EG going? I think they're trying to take down the Tristana that's in top lane. Let's send the chopper over there, please.
I mean, that has kind of been the overall plan for EGA so far this series, is kill Damonte as many times as possible. Unfortunately, I think Damonte has cottoned on to this fact, so he's playing quite slyly there in top lane, just trying to apply some pressure. Contracts wants to flash on Luger more than anything in the world, but it won't do anything. He's got Cleanse and a bunch of buddies around him, including a Braum. Troll, trying to fire back here. Tenacity, not like a bad target. Not the best target, but softer than you're going to get, given that he's the one closest to your Kai'Sa at all times. Tony Top, though, barreling in. Once again, the Scion ulti gets him out of jail for free. And EG still without a kill in the last few minutes.
All right. Looks like this is going to be an Elder Dragon game. You know, the dreaded Elder game when you have a banger already, but you wanted to make it a 5-star banger. It should be in 100 Thieves goalpost. You know, they have the Fed carries. They have a humongous tank. They have Infernal Soul. But I just don't know anymore. I have no idea, Pastry.
You know what? I like to, you know, let the game play itself from this point. You know, it's always interesting to see what happens. 100 Thieves obviously in the lead. They're up like 6,000 gold. Luger's got like almost full items. They've got Infernal. Canvy just bought a Cosmic Drive because, like, you know, that's how much money he has. Scion is like somehow not that tanky, but also pretty tanky. Like, he doesn't have that much gold, even though he's almost even on CS versus Tony, who is smashing him in the landing phase. Oh, this is it. This is the play, huh?
It's the fresh Gouda.
Contracts is just any brush is a good brush if it's behind the enemy.
True.
That's what he's decided on here.
That is a factual
Dance
statement.
changing. Look at him zoom in. Oh, he's so speedy. It's so funny. But why? Like, Damonte rocket jump buff is out. Luger has like all the bodyguards and the cleanse. He's about to get flashback up. Somebody's got a face check. It's going to be Poom, but he's pretty tanky. Now Tenacity, again, going to push forward here. Tony Top, looking for the angle. Oh, my goodness! Dash through the team thanks to the rocket jump. Almost got a mass charm there. But now Canvy looking for the spin and win. Damonte already on a rampage, taking out Tony, and it's curtains here for EGA. Nothing left alive. The carries are there. The encounter engage is good. And Shoryu into stasis will die. Contract's the only one left alive. And Damonte's on the hunt to try and find the bear. And Contracts is speeding out safely. Is he going to get spotted here by Kenvi? He is. Oh, throwing random E's into the brush. It feels bad, man. Contracts, props, phase rush, runs away.
It's
now
a race.
batting back around here. He's just doing what he can. It's the base versus Contracts life. He's trying to fight Kenvi for as best he can. But the base is going to die perhaps before he does. This 100 Thieves is going to move in to take out the enemy Nexus. As Contracts, will he live?
Oh!
I think he will. Yeah, he
got
will. All right, there we go. Nexus 100 Thieves Academy. Contracts keeps himself from getting death number 7. For 100 Thieves Academy, after game 1, kind of getting beaten up in the early game and losing pretty handily, getting beaten up in the early game in game 2 as well, but recovering. This game, just a stellar performance, honestly. Game was a lot closer. They knew what they wanted to do, and just every fight that was thrown at them from like 20 minutes onwards felt like 100 Thieves were in the driver's seat the whole time.
Yeah, and it's the 100 Thieves potential that people talk about when they go down the roster, right? And it feels like it's coming together. Even though beginning of Proving Grounds, they are the 3rd seed versus the 11th seed of EG. EG should have been able to do that during the Academy split, right? And they got it together. And it feels like now we're seeing 100 Thieves get it together. This is a really close series. And even though 100 Thieves are at match point, people have to keep tuning in. This is an insane back and forth. And it feels like even with the mistakes that are being made by Evil Geniuses Academy, that they're still able to buckle down, take those fights. I'm looking towards Jojo Pyun and Contracts to get us back into this series.
Yeah, look, I'm going to tell you one thing, Raz. Teams aren't going to play any slower. Let's put it that way, because the pace has been pretty high and the games have been fun. With 100 Thieves Academy now ahead in our series, we are going to be heading into a break, but when we return, we'll be back with the Analyst Desk.
Welcome back to LCS Proving Grounds, presented by Verizon. Hey, guess what? We wrapped up game number 3. 100 Thieves Academy take the lead against Evil Geniuses Academy. And we're going to be heading into a game decider soon enough, unless EGA manage to pull out a victory for themselves. Let's go ahead and talk about this game. It started off at a different pace than the previous two, for sure, Kangas, but 100 Thieves coming out with a different look.
Well, first off, I want to say I'm just happy that Joshi's also incorrect with his prediction now. So we're in this one together for the rest of the series. But you're right, Kenvi actually had a much better early game compared to those first two that we saw. This is what happens when you have an early kind of even playing field throughout the jungle, and actually leading the charge here with an aggressive early play. This was what, like 16 minutes in, we didn't see very much action. There's only one kill that happened where Contracts picked up that first blood, but awesome to see that the young blood in 100 Thieves Academy still want to make plays happen. Demonte goes out very early, but then it's the rest of them, Poom, Tenacity, Kenvi, that actually pull this one out. And I mean, that was the biggest concern that I had based on games 1 and 2, was the fact that Contracts just continually was out jungling. And I was worried going through the rest of the series that that would continue. Happy to see that Kenvi found a way to stabilize and not let it get out of control.
While it wasn't exactly a lead for the jungler right there at the start, he definitely made work with it for the rest of the game. If we're looking a bit to the EG side, though, being that both of you did predict them to win the overall series, Joshi, what are some things that you noted about the way they played out and executed the mid game?
Well, I think this whole thing was watching how 100 Thieves wanted to fight or not fight. Evil Geniuses have kind of made a name for themselves and being really good at establishing control around these dragons and these barons. And this kind of highlights this, right? Look how much control they have over this area. It is impossible for 100 Thieves to walk in. And eventually, 100 Thieves, after Demonte rejoins them, they see, I don't think we can actually do this. I think we just have to leave. And I was really excited to see that. They know they have Vayne, they have Tristana, they don't need to fight right now. A fight in 5-10 minutes is going to be massively to their advantage. And they lead here, giving over the dragon, knowing it's not going to be putting Evil Geniuses all that closer to the Infernal Soul. And because of that, they live to fight another day.
Yeah, and with that moment, as you're saying, Joshi, there was the action soon to follow, despite that inaction there in the mid lane for the moment. Kangas, we finally started to see some more of those global objective focused upon.
Well, it's funny because Joshi's saying 100 Thieves know when to back off. They also sometimes go a little too far forward, and we did see that play out here too. So while, yes, throughout the game, they were playing safe most of the time, they do then make kind of uncharacteristic overplay right here, getting very aggressive on Tony top on the bot side. And they don't actually get the kill. They lose 2 members here, and then at the end of this, we'll see that they're able to, or Evil Geniuses turn it around and actually get that Baron for this play. So it's pretty rough to see, like, this was like a minute after Joshi was praising them for backing up and not playing too aggressive, that then they go a little too aggressive.
Yeah, it's the duality of 100 Thieves. We're going to go right into another spot where this is where they can't really fight, right? They haven't really scaled up. They don't have their jungler. The Baron's already too low. And where before we praise them for just walking away, there's no rule in League of Legends that says you have to watch your opponent take an objective. They just get too close, and with enough engaged tools between Mystiquus and Contracts just running at the enemy team, they're able to find this really, really big lead. But we kind of lead up to this, right? We see they do want to fight here, they don't want to fight here. Eventually, this team does scale up really well with Tristana, Vayne, and Sion, and when they want to take a fight, they know how to take it.
But despite these moments for EG Academy, despite rolling right into 100 Thieves immediately after the Baron, there was some difficulty. Kangas, why do you think that was?
Yeah, there's that awkward play around the bottom inhibitor where, unfortunately, Mystiquest gets caught out. He dies very early. It's a 4v5, and Evil Genius have nowhere to go except for further up the lane and go for that inhibitor. And I feel like I chalk this up to just inexperience in shot calling and the players, because in my mind, you clearly just say, okay, we're probably not going to win this team fight. Just take the inhibitor, right? Just get the objective at least. They lose, they don't get the inhibitor, and they also all get wiped after regardless. So kind of rough to see that kind of decision making come in from the squad, and I worry that that's a sign of tilt in the series right now.
And there's young guns on the opposite side too, right, Joshi, where 100 Thieves were really starting to accelerate once they kind of got their feet under them.
Yeah, it's the difference between knowing you're going to be playing a long game and kind of having a long game forced upon you. Eventually, 100 Thieves recognize with Kennedy, kind of this guy that we've been highlighting quite a bit, suddenly realizing, hey, every fight is winning. It's my favorite call in League of Legends. Just do whatever it takes to get a team fight started. And while this isn't their cleanest team fight for the rest of the game, it is the one that does highlight, hey, we can do pretty much whatever. And as long as we get aggression going, as long as Luger and Damonte are able to free hit, it doesn't matter what the other team does. We are going to win every single fight because we have scaled.
100 Thieves Academy didn't have many engage options with that composition. They had Scion and they had the Lilia. So seeing Kenvi see that angle, flash in, say, I'm just sacrificing myself for the engage of the team. As long as we start the fight, I can trust my team to carry it. And I mean, when we were thinking about players to highlight some of those young guns, we talked about Tenacity as being somebody that we think is going to be a superstar of Academy going forward. Kenvi, in my mind, was right below Joshi. We actually kind of disagreed on that slightly, but we edged towards Tenacity for the pre-show. But I think Kenvi is also a player that we absolutely need to keep our eyes on. And I think it's so incredible he's able to have two really rough games, game 1 and 2, getting put behind heavily, but then come back with mentality in game number 3 and have that kind of performance. So props to you, Kenvi. Keep it up, man.
You love to see a mentality strong enough for him to be willing to flash forward and make those plays for the team. Going into our next game, though, EG Academy have elected to remain here on blue side. Joshi, it feels like that last game, though, a lot of it came down to very individual moments. You know, both of them kind of had it in their grasp each time. So mentally speaking, on the side of EG, what do you want to see here? Them kind of roll through and try and trust their instincts, or change it up?
I would like to see a little bit more early game focus once again, right? They picked the Syndra in the mid lane, and Jojo Pyun played fine on it, right? He did his job for the most part. Unfortunately, these small mistakes, as these games do go long, are rather draining, and the easiest way to get out of that funk is to just kill them, right? You just come out the gate swinging, you find a bunch of momentum immediately, and I think can do that, say, hey, that one was not what we were expecting, this isn't what 100 Thieves normally plays, let's try and get them back into their wheelhouse, which we have demonstrated that we can beat.
Kanga's thoughts for EGA to push this to game 5?
I know I predicted an EG win, but I'm out. I'm calling it right now. I think 100 Thieves got them downloaded. I think that this is going to be the complete opposite of what I was expecting, because we have seen 100 Thieves win with Tenacity carrying through the top lane. Now we've seen them win with Tenacity on a tank Scion. And keep in mind, they banned Gnar like their last 14 plus games. I want to say like 20 plus throughout the entire Academy season. They do not like playing against Gnar. I don't know if it's a Tenacity thing or a team thing, but they just learned that they don't have to ban Gnar anymore. So I think that this really opens things up for 100 Thieves Academy. And I gotta edge out to them. I know you asked how does EG push it to game 5, but hope's diminishing on my end.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because this game 4 isn't typically where we look at series to be decided, but I think game 4 really is going to decide the series. We'll see if EG can bounce back, if they can be a bit more aggressive early on, make sure that Contracts is able to find some opportunities to be aggressive, or if 100 Thieves have kind of broken Evil Geniuses and finally taken them down. They beat EGP 3-0 yesterday. If they can take down the big brother in Evil Geniuses Academy today 3-1, that's going to be a big confidence boost as we start looking towards the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Kanga's got to tell you, though, once it's in the graphic, you can't change your prediction. Everyone can check the VOD. But everybody will keep it locked here on the live channel for now. We're going to go into a potential match point for 100 Thieves Academy after this break that, as Raz said at the end of that cast, you do not want to miss this series. Stay tuned.